Terrifier.
There it is.
Here we go. Terrifier, a 2018?
I think it's like it originally came out in 2016, and then it got like a more widespread release in 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, this one is like a very new slasher movie. Art the Clown, our main character here, he's become something of a recent pop culture icon. It's very much a thing in like the horror movie circles. They like this guy. They think he's funny. Terrifier. We open up with a weird talk show of a disfigured woman being interviewed about this horrible massacre that happened a year prior. She ends up killing the interviewer later, and then we are treated to the horrific night of two young college girls, let's say, who are being at first creeped out by a man in a black and white clown costume, and then it turns out, oh no, this clown is some crazy killer and he's gonna murder us, and we're running all over the place. They end up calling their other friend, the main girl who was our protagonist, I guess, gets killed, and then we're following this other girl and she gets fucked up and he gets killed, and then there's like an ending where it's like, oh, but he got away, or he's magic or some shit. But yeah. Very bloody, very goofy, very campy, that sort of thing.
Goofy?
I'd say goofy.
Yeah.
Am I wrong? I think it's goofy.
I wouldn't really say it's goofy
silly.
either.
I think you have a different definition of goofy. In a sense that this is a horror movie, I don't know if goofy is necessarily the right word for that, because at some point Goofy just turns into creepy.
Like, fucking Leatherface chasing the girl and the trucker around his semi. That was goofy.
That was
Nothing
goofy.
about this movie's goofy.
No, not at all.
No, I like this movie. It works for me. You know,
I had a strong feeling you would.
It's not necessarily my taste, but I appreciate for what it is, and I think it's really good. I think, out of the three movies we watched this week, I think Art the Clown is by far the best, like, monster villain whatever.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
I think so.
The big issue with him, Tanner, is that, like, he has like he's got like a bit of personality going on here. Mm-hmm. We don't fucking understand literally anything about him, and like I do think I do think that, like, you know, it's important to like create some mystique around like these killers and stuff like that. To, you know, I feel like if we understand them too well, they become a lot less scary. However, we literally don't know anything about him, like, whatsoever. Like, we don't know why he's killing people. We have no idea what any of his motivations are here whatsoever. We don't even really understand what the fuck he's supposed to be.
Presumably it's because he's crazy.
Yeah.
But he's also, like, at the end of the movie, he's like a fucking immortal being.
He's like some kind of demon.
He's like a demon or something.
Yeah.
I think what worked for me with him more than the other two is, compared to Leatherface, he comes across much more threatening. He is far more villainous. Sure. He is far scarier. And this is probably more personal taste compared to the Babadook. I like that he can be hurt, because to me that makes it a bit scarier. Which the fact that, oh, he's endangering himself coming at me. He's not like this untouchable being that I can't even.
He's immortal in the end.
Yeah, but we don't know that until, like, the very last scene of the movie.
I think also, that, like, makes it kind of not work, too, because there's a couple of moments where the movie could have just ended, and it doesn't. Like, you know, there's two specific moments where the main characters were given chances, and they just didn't take them. Like, when the goth chick was, like, letting him have a fair fight against her for some fucking reason.
Oh, yeah.
No reason to do that. Really stupid. Could have pulverized his fucking skull in.
Listen, that's an awesome scene, though, because it subverts your expectations in a good way, where you're like, you don't expect one of these horror movie slasher villains to have a gun. And it is an awesome, hilarious moment when he pulls that thing out and fucking shoots her.
Yeah, I think that was funny, too, but I also think it's stupid that
it was incredibly stupid. Like, this is a guy who she just watched cut her friend in half, okay? Why the fuck is she not just caving his skull in right now? It's so stupid. There are so many moments in this film where characters are doing really fucking dumb shit, which is like the worst thing the people do in these horror movies. Just people doing completely illogical, stupid shit. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Her womanly emotions had overcome her, Nico.
There was also a non-womanly emotion scene, too, where it's the fucking the guy that was like cleaning up the bug infestation or whatever he was doing. And he fucking smacks him on the head with the whatever. He knocks him out. Why didn't he just fucking just destroy him with it? Why did he try to run away and hide? Like, oh, I knocked him out. Let's go run away now. No, fucking kill him. He's killed so many people.
Just the smallest defense there. Like, that guy specifically had not been dealing with art at all from his perspective.
Before that.
Yeah, he literally got fucking hit on the head and knocked the fuck out earlier.
Yeah.
Hi, that's fair enough.
It's just, this movie it's I was saying this after the end of the movie. I was like, it's so hard to judge a movie based on, because this is just my perspective, because this is how I usually do movies anyway. It's so hard to judge a movie based on your enjoyment versus how good the movie actually was, which is, I think, is something you said at the beginning of your review of this movie, Tanner. I can see the value in how good this movie was, but I will say there were a lot of just dumb moments in the movie, given these two scenes. These two scenes were actually something I was going to bring up. And, like, I did like how it was, like, this girl is trying to be tough shit and, you know, mess this guy up. The gun was kind of stupid because, like, the killer either has a gun or they don't. That's just how it is.
No,
if you have a hack and slash killer, the hack and slash killers don't have guns. That's just how it works.
That's what made it a great scene. It was subverting your expectations. You weren't expecting him to have a gun. It subverted my expectations.
I wasn't sure how I felt about it. Also, by the way, did anybody else not expect the main goth girl to, like, not live? Like, I thought she was gonna be the protagonist that got away. I liked her a lot.
That's another way it subverts your expectations. She's supposed to be the final girl.
I will say, one thing I did kind of enjoy about this movie was I was unaware that the interview at the beginning was going to be a flash into the future. I just figured this was going to be another occurrence of this clown going on another murder spree, which was proven by him coming to life at the end of the movie. So it was kind of just a repeating cycle where he dies, but then he just goes on another murderous rampage and then dies, and then, you know, that kind of thing. But then towards the end of the movie, when I was like, alright, so if this really is going to lead up to the interview, is it going to be this girl who ends up being scarred horrifically? And then I'm like, when does that happen? What does that look like? So this movie did have me asking questions and connecting the dots myself without it being super self-explanatory, which I thought was really nice.
Okay. Why the fuck did she kill the interviewer?
I was thinking she's insane now, and or she didn't like the interviewer making fun of her.
I thought she was, like, possessed by... We're not, like, possessed, but, you know...
No, she definitely was insane, because there was that scene right before the end, before she got hit by... Or it was in the room with the guy, when he's like, there's a phone in here, I'm gonna call the cops. She was getting, like, whispers. Like, you could see it in her face, in her eyes, and everything, and you could hear the whispers. She was going a little insane for some reason. I don't know why or how, but she was. So, you know, mental scarring from the whole scenario or something.
Yeah, so this movie is just torture porn. I don't think it's very good whatsoever.
Yeah, that sawing scene, oh my god, that was so hard to watch. I couldn't.
Like, throughout this film, you really never get the sense that, like, oh, these characters might make it out alive. Like, Art the Clown definitely always really seems to have a handle on the situation, and as a result, it kind of just feels hopeless for the most part. It's like you're not really waiting.
I completely disagree.
I'm sorry, Tanner, but, like, I never really get the feeling that, like, oh yeah, these characters might survive. I feel like they'll be able to make it out of this. No, it's just like, alright, I guess I'm just waiting to see how he murders this next person.
I definitely thought First Goth Girl was gonna make it, for sure, to be honest. I thought maybe the homeless lady would live for some weird reason, because they'd connect on, like, some kind of insane psychological level or whatever.
Yeah, no, I caught on very quickly that he's just gonna fucking murder her.
I thought
I completely disagree. He was getting injured throughout the movie, so I think you're wrong to say that.
Yeah, but, like, he's getting injured, but it never feels like it's really doing anything to him. Like, he crumples onto the ground, but then he's just right up the next moment.
They could have played off him being, like, give him a limp or something here and there, or just, you know, make him feel a bit more injured, but...
Yeah, it never really felt like our characters were actually doing anything to him. Like, they'd stop him for a second, but that didn't really do much in the end.
Jackson, what are your thoughts? I feel like we haven't heard much from you.
True. I mean, I compared this movie a lot to Maniac, actually, in the sense that both of them are kind of just, like, senseless murder flicks. And Except I liked Maniac more, specifically just because I think the cinematography in that movie was more inventive. Obviously, they had like the creative decision of using like a first-person perspective for the camera. We got to know like the motivations of the character more. This movie, we didn't really know much of the motivations of anything. I think the set design was all right for the most part. The acting was not very good. Honestly, from the start, I didn't even think that the first two girls were even going to be like the quote-unquote main characters of the film, just because I don't know. They just didn't really seem that into it. I thought they were just going to be like, you know, two chicks that get fucking killed for fodder, and then we go on to the next, you know, the rest of it. That didn't happen. Gotcha. Some of the actual like setups for the scene, you know, like the saw scene, is fucking horrifying. If that, you know, that's what the movie's trying to accomplish, so I can't really knock it that much for it. But yeah, I think the movie's pretty pointless overall. Definitely had interesting atmosphere and good set, but that's kind of all for me.
So you said that you think this movie is worse than Maniac?
Yeah.
Oh boy, I can't wait to see where you put this. I just saw where you ranked Maniac.
So with that being said, Tanner, where are you ranking it?
Yeah, I'll kick us off with a high point. I'm giving this one an A-.
Oh god.
Didn't you rank Maniac highly as well? Oh yeah,
he did,
Maniac an A.
He gave it an A.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Dylan, how about you?
Clearly, it just seems I'm more partial to slasher flicks.
Yeah,
I guess so.
If I'm watching a slasher film, I definitely need more to be going on than just some person running around killing people.
Yeah, if it's just senseless violence, that really doesn't interest me at all.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, this movie was hard for me to judge, but I did see the value of it as a horror movie, and I think it did that very well. So I think that this movie was pretty good in that aspect, so I gave it an S.
Jesus, okay.
Wow.
I'm giving an F+. How about you, Jackson?
F+, Jesus.
Dude, you're out of your mind.
I definitely don't think this is F tier. I actually enjoyed watching this movie more than I enjoyed watching the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I give this movie a D. I think it's one rung underneath Maniac for me.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, Nico, I would 100% for sure agree with you. However, I'm basing it off of how well the movie was made.
What do you mean by that, Dylan?
I think this movie accomplished what it set out to do.
That doesn't mean anything. Fuck you. Stop saying that shit. Okay, so let's say, for example, guys, we watch a fucking erotic film, okay? Let's say we watch an erotic film. It's just fucking for an hour and a half. They did what they set out to. They made a porn film, okay? Does that immediately make an S tier just because they did what they wanted to?
I don't know. I haven't watched one.
He's never seen
Just because
porn,
they accomplished what they're setting out to do doesn't mean it's immediately a masterpiece, okay?
Yeah, I'm gonna make a movie that's really fucking boring, and I accomplished that goal. This movie's really fucking boring. Should you rate it highly? No, not inherently. It's like with fucking what's it called? That one movie, Funny Games. Like the movie was like setting out to, you know, copy a specific genre, like, you know, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, something of that nature. And because of that, it is inherently boring. Just because it accomplished that goal doesn't mean that's a good thing. That's why, you know, my big gripe with it. Still be a bad thing. While also, you know, still having other redeemable characteristics and flaws.
So with that in mind, Dylan, does that help you out at all here?
I think Nico and Dylan are both being a little cap here, but whatever.
Anyways, assuming Dylan keeps the S tier, that puts us at a B- for Terrifier.
All right. Where did Maniac end up in the overall?
Maniac?
I don't agree with us comparing these two, by the way, but y'all are the ones that brought that up.
It's just the only slasher film. Well, the other only other slasher film. I guess House of Wax would maybe qualify for that, but not really. There's more going on there. Maniac got a C.
Okay.
That's fair.
Maniac was much more controversial than this one.
Yeah.